I was afraid it was gonna be lit, because I stopped and read it.
I haven't seen it.
Okay.
I don't know. We'll make sure that that gets, we can add that to the agenda, okay? I haven't seen those yet.
Hey, oh, hi.
I'm fine, Jackie.
Yeah, you need to find where you are.
We have coffee chair.
Yeah.
That way?
Just be careful, if you lean back too far,
Yeah, don't.
it feels like you're gonna fall.
That's a
I
decided
haven't seen
risk.
anybody fall,
Yeah.
but it does feel like it.
We're glad you're with us.
Maybe
Right
show
on
me
time.
in for the puppy.
One space for me and one space for you.
Alrighty, well, we'll give you a chance to kind of get all settled in, then we'll just fire in there, if that's okay. April 3rd, already.
Third.
Making them work a lot.
Yeah.
Eclipse next week.
What, like,
The eclipse is next week.
Yeah.
Greg Dixon.
Right, Justin. Although, right now, looking at Monday,
I'm leaving on Wednesday, but so I'll just see whatever's here.
Okay, well, I think we're about ready to fire up. We have a couple folks online.
They're not,
Okay.
other. Can you hear us, Amber?
She's staring.
I know.
Fine, can you hear us?
Amber, can you hear us? Jessica, can you hear us?
I don't think they.
What is happening?
I know. Technical issues. Yeah, it's kind of comfy, isn't it? It's almost too comfy.
Rachel's here too.
What else do we have on?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So all of you are connected to the microphone lines. There is a button in front of those mics, each mic. Go ahead and click on them. Once you click on it, you will see a red light go on. That's when a mic is hot. Go ahead and leave them on throughout the meeting.
keep them on.
Mhm.
Okay.
That way people can hear you and that,
Okay. So can our online folks here?
Just so you know.
and I only see, 4 people online.
And they can't hear us?
They should be able to, that, you need to turn on your mics.
I know, but, oh, that's why Amber can't hear me. I already told Nick I was having trouble with words today.
So Kim and Amber, and who else do you have? Samantha?
Jessica.
Jessica.
I'm not Samantha, it won't let me change my name for some reason, and I'm logged into someone else's account apparently.
So she's some.
So 4.
Well, the
Amber.
ones, there's only 2 that I think are the members.
Yeah. And the other folks are just joining, that's good. Okay, well, we might want to just go and start with introduction since we have some folks who might not have been with us before. So Heidi, you want to start? We'll go around the room and then we'll come off to the folks that are online.
Sure. So I'm Heidi Bell, the city manager.
Oh, me? My name's Tasia Wydro, or TK, and I represent Sheridan.
Nick Genatino, I'm the facilitator for the meeting.
Julie Schuman with Churches United for West Valley.
Julie Ray, community member. Rachel Roberts with Sheridan Nazarene and Churches United.
Bobby Davis with the American Legion.
Rachel, will you turn on that mic that's in between you guys too? That'll be good.
And then Joe,
Hi, Jody Lee, Observer, WBT.
Margaret.
and then online we have, I think, 4, is that correct? Amber?
Yes, I'm Amber Hanson Moore, I am with White Caspian Home Community Action Partnership.
And then Kim? And who else do we have here?
Jessica.
Jessica?
Jessica's a part of the task force.
Okay. Anyone else that I might have missed? Alrighty. I'm not sure if everybody's had a chance to look at the agenda or not, or if there are any reviews or modifications, but for those that are here, it's posted up front for us to follow behind me. And there were a couple of minor edits that we can go through as we proceed through the course of the meeting. But I think what we'll do is look at what we had from last meeting, so checking off where we are on the agenda. Looking at the key points, Provoking Hope, of course, offered their services to the community and appreciated that it's available for everybody that would need the services that they can provide, so it's kind of nice. And then the city offered City Hall to be available for a short-term place to house Provoking Hope. And I give a little bit of an update on those days, is that correct?
Yes, I was hoping Diane would be here, but we,
She's trying to get online.
oh,
You wanna wait?
yes.
She might need a link.
Okay, stand by one.
Okay, go ahead and I'll work with her and you
Okay.
can proceed.
Okay, so we'll circle back to that once we get that thing. And then we also started last time the public information process.
Yeah, we're working, I brought the handouts of where we're at so far and I also shared it with the whole group via email.
Okay, and that's on our today's topic, so it's a carryover. All right. So we'll still work on that link. But with that, it takes us to today's topic. And if you folks online, give me just a second, please, and I track where we are. Any other topics that we didn't carry forward from the last meeting that we wanted to talk about before we launch into new work for today? And again, we're pretty much focused just on those key items, because we talked about a lot of things and we can't really chase all of those in detail, but we want to make sure we get the key elements to carry forward. And if not, that's okay.
Jay, will you send her a text and let her know I just emailed her?
Okay, we're still working on the tech side, so hang in there with us. So for today, probably the first thing that we should do is maybe go to Amber with this handout, and I'm not sure what the distribution was that was for the folks that have called in, but there's a point in time summary that we have that's 1, 2, 3, 4 pages. Amber, would you take a couple minutes maybe to go over that handout for us, please?
Yeah, is the one that was shared, the one that's specific to Sheridan, or was it the county press release?
I think this is a little shorter than the other one. I'm not sure which version of this it is.
Amber, I sent out the one in the email.
It's the press release?
Yes,
I mean, it says press release at the top.
4
Okay.
pages.
Yes, okay. So that is the preliminary data. That one is county-wide. It did also send an email with just Sheridan specific data if you guys are interested in that. But the press release was done recently after we had an opportunity to assess the preliminary data from the county-wide point in time count, which many of you participated in. So it includes Sheridan, but is not exclusive of Sheridan. That's anybody in Yamhill County who identified on January 24th as being homeless. So that would be both those staying in homeless shelters as well as those living on the streets or other places not meant for human accommodation. And let me pull it up here so I can tell you. But some of the broad themes, you can read through it yourself. If you have questions, I welcome them. But some of the broad themes is that we are seeing fewer people on the streets and more people in shelters. So while the homeless number itself is roughly the same as it was in past years, those who are in homeless shelters, like emergency shelter, transitional living program, are greater, and those who remain on the streets are less. That said, those who live on the streets, like cars, RVs, camps that are makeshift tents and stuff like that, have much more significant barriers compared to last year's point in time, we're seeing a lot fewer children on the streets, unsheltered homeless is the term that we use for that. We are also seeing those who are unsheltered with much longer, with much more longevity in their homelessness. So if I remember right, about 40% of those that we surveyed had been homeless for 3 years or more, and even more significant number had been homeless for over a year. A significant portion, I believe 1/3 to 1/4, had health issues, significant chronic health issues, self-identified, and substance use disorders. So what that kind of tells us is that those that remain on the streets, the ones that we can most visibly see, have really high barriers to housing, and it takes more than just finding a rental and getting an income. And for the most part, it's going to take a very community-wide effort that includes substance use providers, mental health services, and other community supports.
So Amber, it said that there were 12 individuals from that January 24th count from Sheridan. That's correct, right?
Yes, there were 12 surveyed. One of the things that point in times are notorious for, and you always have to take with any data set has its pros and its limitations. You are never going to survey every homeless person on one night in January in the entire county. So we know that there's probably more homeless people potentially in Sheridan and elsewhere, but this is the number that we were able to get individual level data on. And there were 12, thanks to the strong efforts of your community and having a drop-in site there in the street team. We identified 12 individuals.
And what was, I guess, just curious, what was the total number for all of the individuals countywide?
It was, hold on, I'm trying to pull it up here real quick, my computer's acting meaningfully slow. 381, that is both those who were in shelter and those who are on the streets.
Okay, thanks. All right. Well, thank you. Any questions? Good to know, but the situation doesn't sound like it's getting any better.
I think that those who really just need sort of a hand up have been served very well by multiple organizations who are able to get families and get people off the streets who really don't need to be on the streets. But that doesn't mean that we've kind of sifted through the population, and those that remain have very significant barriers and are going to take a lot of effort to rehouse.
Yeah, it does take effort and energy. Huh? It's like Diana's with us now too, so that's good. Okay, any other questions on the count? Thank you. All right, well, the next thing that was on the original agenda was evaluate the options. And it said long-term resource center locations, but we had a little discussion before we started. And basically, Heidi was thinking that it's probably more appropriate to have 2 stages for us to look at. One would be a long-term, which is the goal eventually down the road, which is probably beyond the capacity for this task force and the time we have left. But what we can focus on in the short and intermediate term that we do have time to work on is probably more accurately called an intermediate or medium term facility. So that's what I think we wanted to look at for today. And what that brings to mind is, you know, with the help from the folks with Bobby and the Legion, that we probably have our best intermediate term siting working in cooperation with you and your organization. Now that we have a real short term option to set up here.
Yeah, I can talk about that. So Diane, I meant Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Monday through Wednesday. Sorry, I was on vacation last week and I didn't always keep up on my email during that time. I was trying to take a little break from work. But yeah, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So I hope that that works for you. If it does, the next steps are, tomorrow the city attorney is in and we can just draft up I'm hoping just a really quick agreement, like a 1 page essentially. So that, and I can present that to you if you would like, if that's good. Okay, sounds great. And I'll work on that tomorrow.
Okay, sounds good, thanks. So we've got three pretty easy. Thanks for your help too. Okay. So the short-term needs pretty much covered, just pending the development, drafting, and signature on that agreement. That'll allow us to focus on this, what we probably call the intermediate term needs, working with the American Legion. So some discussion's been going on, and I think that it's a good sighting for us, kind of a one-stop shopping in the intermediate term. But the facility needs some help, is that correct?
Well, we have permission, because I gave you permission. I'll be the new commander, so I get to be the cranky one. Yeah, I mean, it's been agreed to, with the rest of the executive board. So we have to figure out, we need to get somebody from Provoking Hope to the Legion to take a tour around and see what it is that needs to be changed. It was decided that if you have to, we do have it upstairs, and we're given permission to open up, but it hasn't really been used for a while, and we still need, there's all kinds of stuff stored everywhere. And that, what that gives is, we have a large room, where people hang out, but then attached to that is an office, an enclosed office, which has a couple of desks in it, and that, you could access yourself to that. It's got stairs to go up. So if something happens and you have somebody come in and they don't do stairs, you can always go downstairs and you can use the office.
Cool.
But yeah, I mean, somebody can come and take a look and tell me what they need, what will work. And as far as days, I'm there Tuesday and Thursday, so we decided we can do the 3 days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Mostly because I can't do, medically I cannot do 5 days. I've already learned that.
Okay, for the folks that are online, we're just trying to track the key items that we'll come back to, and we'll use those to review the accomplishments for today. But basically, what we've covered so far is
Nick, you might have to be closer to your mic. Sorry about that.
that's okay, yeah. Technology. I'm surprised it's still working. I have a black thumb. Everything's technologically touch doesn't work. So I'll try not to touch it, but basically for the folks that can't see online, the PIT review we covered, and then we talked about the City Hall Monday to Wednesday being available short term, and then we talked about the medium term. And the key point to me was you had the okay, right? That was one of them.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it is.
I gave myself the okay.
Okay. Until somebody maybe decides differently, and then just tell them it's done.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, good.
I have a lot of support for what I do with the homeless and everything, so,
Good.
that just falls into it.
Good deal. We're kind of a good position to be in. So, the only thing is you do need somebody from Provoking Hope to visit.
I would like for somebody to come by and tell me exactly what's gonna work, what will be used. I mean, I have permission, we talked about it, and if we have to, we can open up the upstairs, just means it has to be clean. It's just hasn't been used for a while. A lot of it's because of the stairs.
Yeah.
But the only time it's really was used in the past was veteran hangout.
So, Diane, would you be able to offer up some time, or do you guys want to work on that later? Or would you rather just see if we can do it now?
I'm there Tuesday and Thursday, whenever there.
So we'll just have you two work on that together? Okay.
That'll work.
I can pair them up with an email.
Okay,
Okay.
that will work. Stand by.
What are the hours that you could do?
I'm there on Tuesday and Thursday because I do veteran work, claims and so forth, and helping people out. I usually get there around 10 to get the lunches going, and then I'm usually there until about 4:30 to 5. two guys that are trying to work and they're always late getting in to grab their food. And I know they need it, they're very
So you would just add an extra day of coming in on Wednesday.
Yeah, I can do that because.
And do you have enough help when you're there, or do we need to find volunteers to help?
I have one helper that comes and helps with lunch.
Okay.
Lisa helps sometimes, which is great. Other than that, I would just monitor and keep track of what's going on and make sure, nothing turns into a toy.
How many,
No playing with the helmets.
Dan, how many Provoking Hope staff do you expect to have there?
Well, the plan is to have a management level person and 2 CRMs, certified recovery mentors.
Okay, great.
And they will rotate day to day. So, Tuesday would be a manager and 2 CRMs. Wednesday would be a different manager and 2 CRMs, different CRMs. Wednesday would be, so it would be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, if I understood correct. So it would be rotating management level people out there and bringing with them 2 CRMs. And one of the days in my concept would be the team that does harm reduction. So the Blue Mobile unit would come and be there available for the kind of services that they provide also.
Cool, that's exciting.
It is an answer to a prayer.
I love all these pamphlets.
Yeah.
I was trying to read through all of them, and I really love that you've got the ones about the responsible moms, the dad's program and all that. Is that something that you guys would survey to see if it was a need for this area, or would you start advertising those programs and classes right away that we could get in the paper and that kind of thing?
Well, yes and no. I have talked to the family program staff, and they are excited to be a part of coming out there. And I think that location is a significant thing for them. So a wide open space, such as I'm envisioning that the Legion Hall is, would not be conducive to bringing a ton of children into who are children of the moms and dads who are in the struggle. So that, in my mind, would be a complication.
Okay, so that might be part of the, when you're taking the tour, to take a look at how that space might need to be modified to do that.
It's 2 big rooms. Initially, when you walk in, the meeting room, which is, shared. But then in the other side is the dining room. And that's usually where the kids go hang out, and we've got coloring and things, and upstairs we've got a bunch of games.
So our kids are not just hanging out, they are in a support group atmosphere, and they're divided by 4 different age categories. And they're learning life skills to help them not be repeated legacies of situations that they have grown up around or in. So privacy and separation, quite frankly, from their parents' view and their ability to see their parents is a pretty important aspect of what we do. And there's a curriculum. I mean, they go through a curriculum and they learn life skills. And it's like a support group for children, even 3-year-olds who have spent 3 years in a home where addiction has been the primary source of their life. They are so tenacious and they learn so well the new way, the new life skills. So, yeah, it's, it's that kind of thing.
I'm wondering, Diane, what do you think, and Bobby, about having maybe the parenting piece somewhere else? Like, maybe at the school district, we could try to see if there's a space there, or Rachel's here, maybe at one of the churches that could be set up for that better inside. And so that happens, on a specific, I imagine that's a regular thing, like a specific day, a specific time, right? And then, so maybe that individual service is provided at a different location.
And
Until we get our dream space.
so that's kind of they're in a separate building here in McMinnville.
Oh, okay.
So we rent a separate building. It's called the family building. And so they are definitely in, but the parents, because this is a strip mall, essentially. So the parents are in the same building as they're in, but there is a definite separation between the age brackets and even from the parents. Because the children need to know that it's okay to share and talk, because it's a support group for them. And you'd be surprised the things that the facilitators of those groups hear, if the trust can be built. And the traumas and the things that they've gone through because of addiction is pretty significant. And they don't really have a safe place to share that. And that's why they carry it, just to repeat the cycle. And so, yeah. So I wouldn't be opposed. It would have to happen on the same day.
Mm-hmm.
So like the moms program in McMinnville, the moms program happens on Thursdays. The dad's program happens on Wednesday. And in both of those groups, the children of the moms or the dads on different days, they're in their own children's support group during that time.
Okay.
So if we have, like today, what is today? That tells you how busy my life is. This is Wednesday, correct? So I'll tell you last week. So last week on Wednesday, there were 14 dads, and we had 5 children. And so then on Thursday, we had 17 moms, and then we had 7 children. So, it fluctuates back and forth like that. And right now, in the space we're in here in McMinnville, we cannot accommodate the 0 to 4-year-olds because we just don't have the room. And so we're only facilitating for 5 through 12-year-olds. So we're pretty flexible, I guess is what I'm saying. But it would be a good idea and it would be appropriate, and we would go along with that thought process of, having them be off campus from where the hall is.
Good question.
So what I'm hearing is this family program sounds very much needed and very useful. And it should probably be step 2 of us finding a place for that to happen.
Yeah, I agree, Julie.
At least based on the statistic that Diane, I think that you mentioned, thought it was 70 or something percent of the,
Yes,
what exactly, I've been asked a few times about that statistic. If you could say it again so that I can
Okay.
fully understand it, and
So
also
there's
where the statistic comes from.
the DHS hotline for Child Protective Services is where the calls come in.
Okay,
And 79% of the calls for our county come from the West Valley.
and what are those calls specifically?
Fear of child abuse.
You mean, what are they for?
They're calls for, you know, this family lives next door to us.
Oh, okay.
You know, the mother is never home and we see constant traffic going through, children being left alone, children crying all night long. You know, one of the calls that we went out for was that the 4 children are out roaming the cul-de-sac at 4 o'clock in the morning.
We had one here in
unattended.
Sheridan that was extremely sad. It was a 3-year-old, and there was 2 other siblings, and the other siblings looked significantly underfed, and the 3-year-old was always outside naked and going
Yeah.
to neighbor's house and eating off their porch. And so
Yeah.
there's a lot that happens that I don't know that other people in the community really see visually as much as I think that Diane hears about and even City Hall hears about. So
Right.
Okay, and that's Sheridan, not West
that's
Valley.
in Sheridan. That's a
That was
That's the
Sheridan.
79.
79 for the West Valley, not
79.
Sheridan alone.
Oh, for-
West Valley. That would be Willamina and Sheridan, and I'm guessing a little portion of Gaston is the way the county lays out.
It's Grand Ronde.
Grand Ronde.
And a little bit of Grand Ronde, although if it's tribal, then those calls are going to them, not to
So
the
79% of West Valley or 79% of Yamhill County?
79% of the counties reported potential child abuse.
Okay.
Of the county, you guys.
Yes.
That's why my heart is there, you know,
Okay.
because I know that we can, you know, that services are needed out there
So
for
the
those.
parent education is like,
Yes,
It's so
absolutely.
that's good to know.
Yeah, the need is here. So just to refocus, we started to chase 2 separate paths here. No, that's okay, we need to do both. But we're talking about the intermediate term now. But more pressing, I think, is the short term need that we're gonna have set up in this building. So we need to probably run both of those concurrently if we can do so, which won't be overly difficult. It will just take a little bit more focus and energy. And I know that, you know, Diane, working with the folks that we have in both of these locations, you'll do what needs to be done. So we have faith in you and your organization to help us out to address the needs that we have. But we just need to keep those 2 in mind. The only thing that hasn't really been specific enough, at least for me and probably some others, is we don't have any time frames established for these, but I think they'll fall into place. The most important time frame, I think, is the on-site visit. What do you think, Bobby?
It will help me figure out what has to be done, what areas they think that they can work with. So without a visit, I have no idea.
Yeah, so for the intermediate term, that's the most pressing. And then the other thing that's most pressing to me for the short term is that agreement.
Mhm.
And if, I don't know what your schedule is like, Diane, on your end, if we can get that done by whenever, you have a target date in mind?
I think we should be able to definitely handle it by Monday. So if he'll work on it Thursday, I think we'll be able to get over something to Diane either Thursday afternoon or early Monday morning, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, will that work for
I
you,
really
Diane?
don't think it has to be very long.
Okay, well, it's just, I think it's key that we have some kind of time frame tied to both
Yeah.
of those. So we'll have you 2 figure out the time visit for the next meeting. Yes, go ahead.
So do we have to have the document in hand before we come out and walk through the Legion Hall? Is that what?
No, the
Okay,
document
so,
essentially is just to solidify, like, you being in City Hall for the hours and that we are gonna commit those days of the week and that thing. And then separately from that, so that'll be a short-term thing. And then in the medium-term thing, we're all hopeful that you can find a space to be at the American Legion for what we're calling like an intermediate period. And then that would be so how to get that going forward is very soon. Bobby would like to welcome you over to the Legion to do a walkthrough so that you can kind of design that space to better fit the needs of Provoking Hope. And then the longer term is what Nick and I are gonna talk about here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're on the way.
Nick, you want me to start it or not?
Well, let's make sure these two are clear for everybody, because we have parallel tracks going, and I think they are. I mean,
Yes.
they are to me now, but if they're clear to me, they should be clear to almost everybody else.
Right. So I'm gonna suggest that we come out there, I'll bring a couple of others, like the manager of that program. And another manager, I'll just pick a manager that's available, and I think we should come out there on Thursday. Are you there Thursday, Bobby?
Oh, yeah. My second home.
Okay, so, because I'd like to have eyes on it as soon as possible, because then that helps you and me, determine, what the calendar looks like as far as when we could officially say we're gonna be over there and out at City Hall. So, and I think the other question I have is, when can City Hall start? So that I can begin to plan on that also. So those are the two timeframes to me that attach themselves to a need to know, hopefully in this meeting at least, or after the Thursday walkthrough.
Well, that's good. That Thursday walkthrough, I think, is a key step, and then.
Like tomorrow, Thursday? Or next Thursday?
Yeah.
Tomorrow, Thursday, right?
No, tomorrow Thursday is what I'm
Is that
talking
okay?
about.
Yes, I just wanted to be clear for you.
Yeah.
Only sometimes.
You're good, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then with that, if you can do that Thursday, we'll have hopefully that city agreement Monday.
Mhm.
And then we'll just have you two figure out what will work from both your schedules here at City Hall and then with Provoking Hope. Will that work okay, Heidi?
Yeah, I mean,
You
as
know
soon
that?
as we have that signed, which is hopefully on Monday, I mean, I really think this is like a one-page agreement, but as soon as we're done with that, Diane, we would love to welcome you immediately. So if you
Okay,
wanted to start next week, you're welcome to do that, as far as I'm concerned.
and we're looking at Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
No.
Is that what?
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Are you Monday?
You don't really
Tuesday.
want to be here on a Thursday. Most Thursdays are crazy.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, they have two separate time windows, both of those locations. The city's Monday to Wednesday,
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday,
Yep.
3 days.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and the other Legion is the
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, okay?
That would be,
So we just need to be clear on that.
that's two
And of course,
days.
we have 3 days, but we can't have the same 3 days. Let's just wait it. Somebody must be named Murphy here. Okay, well, that kind of launches into some of the stuff we had started to talk about earlier, I think, Heidi, about
Yeah.
once we get that site visit and have you folks figure out what we will need to have done in that Legion facility,
Mhm.
then I'll have Heidi talk about what she thinks would happen after that point.
Okay.
Okay, are you
Okay.
ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. So I think that after that, Nick and I think that this whole thing will take us through our we said 3 more meetings, right? This is the 4th. Okay, so 3 meetings.
This 1 plus 3 is what we figured.
Okay, so that should take us through that, and then we will probably take a break for a while. Nick and I are hoping, though, at the end of these meetings that we have a really good list of what the long-term permanent place looks like, right? This resource center. So we take a break on that, and then we give that list to the city council. That's what they requested out of this. So we give that list to them of what that looks like. and then take a break. Hopefully they find a place or they have some criteria to start thinking about places and come up with a plan for that. Then, maybe, I don't know, we'll have to figure out when, like late summer-ish or something, we meet again, and maybe we invite other people to join so that we start thinking about what that long-term, right, facility, what do I say, organizations are in there, okay? And so we should have more information, I'm thinking late summer, early fall, so we'll put a pin in this over the summer and then revisit again, and we'll come back at it. I think, that's my hope for being the plan here. What do other people, I'm totally open to hearing feedback and criticism or whatever.
I think it's a great idea. I just had a thought. I feel like this isn't really like a housing task force anymore. It's more like a resource center task force. Maybe we should rebrand it in the first press release or whatever we do.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that might help clarify for people.
Yeah, and I think, that's a good point. I think part of that too is, what does the council want? Because we sort of found ourselves in this pathway, which was a little bit different, I think, than what the initial attempt was. So maybe during that break, not only do we get a better read on what we think we need for the facility and come up with a list of needs, but we need to touch base back with the council and say, hey, here's what we've done. We're gonna take a break. We need you guys to think about this, and ladies, and see with this group of people, if we have some success that I believe we'll have, what is it that you would like for us, and I'm just drafting everybody here now. What is it that would you like for us to chase next?
Yeah.
And then after they do that, they look at the facility, they look at what the needs are, potential funding sources, those sorts of things. Then we might have, again, not just this mission for the resource center, it may expand some. But when we get to that point, what I would recommend that we do is we just make sure that's crystal clear and that is in writing from the council before anybody reconvenes for the first meeting as the following. It needs to be clear in their minds so that it's clear to us what they really want. That cost us a little bit on this journey, and time is worth much more than we can quantify to everybody. So if we can get them to commit to say, yeah, this is exactly what we want you to do, and here's the priorities in that work, and we'd like you to start on XYZ day. That would help us, I think.
Sound good?
Okay. Good. Alrighty. Well, that was pretty easy, huh? It's good to have easy things once in a while. You can't always be welcome. You get discouraged with that. So it looks like the long-term resource center has been addressed, immediate and short-term resource center needs have been addressed. They aren't finalized, but they're all in action and they're all in process. So I think that was pretty good. And that, to everybody's credit, it was easy to get that taken care of. Let's see. The next thing I think that's on here is an update on the public information plan. TK, you have something you need to share with us? Is that correct?
I think it got printed out, but I'm not sure that the back got fully printed out, so
Uh-oh, do you like that?
I got extra copies for everyone. I'm not sure the back got fully. Oh, okay, okay, good.
I got cut off.
Just a little bit.
Give you one of hers, the complete one.
Okay, so, I planned on working on this more than I actually did, because I forgot that I had spring break right in the middle of that, but, I did chat with Stacy a bit about this, and the plan that we came up with is since this meeting was happening today, I would revise this one, because I just did this one based on the last meeting. I would revise it when this meeting's update, which was, there's not a huge amount to change, but, and then I think what I was unclear about was who is it going to go through? Do we want it to go through everyone? Do we want everyone on the task force to have a chance to review it? Which is totally fine with me. The idea was, okay, I get it drafted to a point that we're all happy with, and then I'll work with Stacy to get it in print format, however she needs it for the bulletin. And then we create that as a PDF or JPEG or whatever that can also be shared online. So I wrote what the draft was here, and then I wrote on the back just kind of the next steps and the questions. Yeah, the first page is the draft. Yeah, so the first page is the draft of it. And I know I missed some names on here. But I just thought it would be good, and feel free to disagree with me, but I thought it would be good that everyone knew who was here, who attended the meeting and who was here, who regularly is here. And then the key discussion points. We can make this shorter, we can make it longer. It didn't print out, there was little tiny bullet points here, but they're like light gray, so you can't really see. But those are bullet points. Should we make it more bullet points? Do we want to add less information, that kind of thing? Wasn't really sure about what we wanted. And then on the back, I'm talking about how we distribute this information. Once we decided on who sees it, the final approval, and then I know that Stacy's willing to put it in the bulletin, which is great. And then do we want to take that graphic and share it on the public Sheridan Facebook page, on Heidi's page, on the bulletin, or sorry, on the bulletin's Facebook, Sheridan groups. I know that we mentioned the deputy maybe wanted some, Julie on maybe some newsletters, the Rotary newsletter, maybe the chamber can pass it out on their newsletter. Any other ideas on that? And then just sort of make sure we don't forget, I do think that once we finalize, like maybe after the next 3 meetings, I think it'd be really great to have and for some reason I can't think of what it's called, a public input session. What is it called? It's not open house.
Like a town hall?
Town hall, yes.
It's like a townhouse at first, but
No,
yes,
no,
a town hall.
Yes, something like that where
Townhouse is
Provoking
something totally
Hope and the American Legion can be there, and Provoking Hope can do a presentation, have the testimonials, Diane, like you had talked about, a question answer. I think it'd be a great way for just like as a fun, exciting, this is a new thing, or it's coming back to Sheridan, and then also allow the public a chance to have it be a less formal, interactive type, like there's going to be a time they can do the question and answer, that kind of a thing. And it's really cool. I don't think it's going to happen, but I mean, by that time, to have the American Legion be able to have it be held there, and it could be almost like a town hall slash open house. But that would be awesome, because then it would be at that location, people can get their questions answered like literally right there. But this would be a way to involve the public in a really great way, and also maybe, I don't know if you'd say get business for but it's promoting it. It's like
Making aware.
Yeah, making people aware. Yeah, so I feel like that, at least having that one public event would be great. Maybe even before the next time that we can reconvene, because then we'll be able to have even like more information. The council should be there, but can the council be there and not have it be like an official thing? They could just be there as because then they could hear what
They just can't talk about official business.
Yeah, so it'd mainly be, maybe if some of the task force guys are there, can we talk? Is that fine, Heidi? Can we, if some of the task force members are there, can we talk?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so then we could have a very informal thing, but mainly I think it's probably Provoking Hope and the American Legion that would be presenting this. But anyway, and that's also, if we all agree on that, that's also something that we can add in the press release of like, this is coming up, this is a great opportunity to learn about it. And then I do think that it will help to have it be that we change the name of this, because we have kind of moved away from this being just about the housing, but more like, well, the way I look at it is kind of what I wrote here, which is the, based on information presented, it seems like the most, I need to reword this, that would be using this are not actually homeless, but those more at risk for being homeless or those who need an extra hand. The strategy of creating a support system for those most at risk of homelessness is one that Deputy Walters emphasized. Help those who need it now before they have the first night of homelessness. It's harder to help recover them as productive members of society once someone actually becomes homeless. So start earlier. So I see, I think we all do, that Provoking Hope fills to some degree that need of starting earlier. And then I can add in the bit about that because this has evolved to more about, I don't know if you could say intervention, but whatever tagline I'm sure that Provoking Hope has or that we can come up with about resource center and information center, whatever you want to do, I'm sure we can come up with something. Anyway, thoughts? Anyone have thoughts on that?
So, one of the words that we use a lot is wrap around services.
Yeah, I use that.
Yeah.
Do,
So wraparound services really talks about meeting the need. And I don't know if you're familiar with the Maslow pyramid in social work, but you know, he says, he doesn't say this anymore, but he says it by history because he taught it to us. He says, meet my basic needs. That's the first level of his pyramid. So what are basic needs? The basic needs are a safe place to live, you know, having a secure, safe place to live, having enough food to provide for myself and my family, you know, having just saying having the right clothing, being able to stay physically clean. I'm not talking about drugs or alcohol. I'm talking about having a safe place where I have my clothes, I can take a shower, I can be presentable to my community. So you meet those 5 basic needs. Those are the first steps in my philosophical thinking.
Yeah.
Don't tell me to get into recovery and quit using drugs when every day I'm waking up wondering, where am I going to sleep tonight? Which slab of concrete, which tent? Not only that, but where are my clean clothes that I could change into? All of these things that give to the individual human being the message that they're unworthy and that they're not good enough. So we think about all of the services that can be provided, and you wrap the person up like in bubble wrap. You wrap them up in bubble wrap, and each one of those points of bubble is a service that will meet the need that they have presented with. And the first needs are hunger, safe place to live, a place to sleep, clothes, food. Those are their 5 basic needs. And those 5 basic needs allows them to begin to feel safe and to feel loved and to feel like there's hope. And then pretty soon you can begin to talk to them about the other things.
Okay.
The more.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. So the way I described it is Provoking Hope is primarily a peer-to-peer substance abuse support and mentorship organization, but they have wraparound services available to anyone. And then I put in parentheses, does not need to have substance abuse issues to take advantage of these services. And then I said parenting and life skills classes, childcare assistance, job placement assistance, housing assistance, clothing assistance, domestic violence education, youth outreach, resume building, general health and nutrition support education, and a lot more. I got that from your
Right, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, that's beautiful. And that encompasses everything really that Bobby is currently doing also, because she is meeting on the days that she's there already. She's meeting these basic needs.
Okay, cool. Great. Okay, any other feedback on this? I mean, so 2 main questions are, do we want this to just go through a couple of people? does everyone want a chance to review it? Do we wanna just include like Heidi, Nick, Bobby, and Diane, since those are specifically related to those areas? Like, I'm open to any suggestions.
Julie's a good editor.
What if you emailed it to everyone?
Yeah, I can tell you
And
that.
that way there could be suggestions from anyone, but I'm willing to say Heidi and Nick and you would create the final draft.
Okay,
Yeah.
and is everyone okay with Google Docs? Did that work for everyone? Was everyone able, I emailed it around, is that easy for people to access?
I don't have it, but I'll figure it out.
Yeah, I think you don't even actually have to have Google Docs, the way you have it is, you can just access it.
I think so.
And that way, it just stays in one place, and, okay.
If you were able to click on her link today, then that's all it takes.
Okay, then we're good.
Okay, okay, great, and then,
Then you did.
so if we're all in agreement with that, what I can do is just, put together my notes, and add it to this. Do you guys think this is too long? Is that just enough? Do we wanna have more bullet points? Does it need like more clarification? I had suggested to Stacy at some point to do an article, and maybe it's just gonna be like an interview that she does with you, Heidi, or I don't know. Something that goes through the history of this topic, because I feel like there's been so much confusion on this topic that maybe just going over the history and like really basic information about why did the city council even have to look into this? How did it morph and get to the point that we are now, like, I think so key is what Deputy Brady said. And that really changed my direction of thinking about, okay, we're focusing on this when we need to focus actually more here, which is before the getting point. And like, that was so significant in my mind of the change kind of the direction. So I think that the public need to understand that. So I was just thinking maybe that's not appropriate for this because this would just be a couple meeting wrap up versus, I don't know. I feel like that data, I mean, maybe I could include some of it, but it just seems so
Maybe you're
important.
thinking about doing several things here. You're thinking about capturing the task force, but you're also thinking about why each of these individuals are involved. So that could be like a little special interview section. So it could look different. Like your article could look like this with some information and then like a spotlight.
Yeah.
I think people are more apt to read two separate, shorter versions.
Okay.
Rather than a long article.
Yeah, okay. So break it up into easy to digest pieces and.
Well, the history is important to some people, but some people get more interested about, okay, where are you going?
Where are we going?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm fine with just being like, okay, that was all in the past. I just want to make sure that that is including the whole community, including, I know a group of people that did get quite concerned about this topic and, you know, maybe just giving a good, this is what happened, this is the direction, thank you very much for your input, this is why we're going this direction, you know, and that's good. I think we're all in agreement, this is a good direction that's going in now. Okay, good. So I got on the, how I'm gonna write this, I'll share it with everyone, you can help with the editing, we'll do the final, I'll give that to Stacy. For the most part, it'll stay somewhat the same, she might do some formatting changes, but that will stay the same. And then, does the distribution seem like a good plan? Do we have any thoughts on that? And also I said, should we include a way for someone to reach out if they have questions?
Yeah, always.
Yeah, what do we want that to be, you?
Nick. I'm just kidding. Well, I'll be
Okay, so Heidi.
If you need more than one, you can use me, because I put my phone number on.
That's right, Julie is. So, and Bobby, yeah?
Okay, yeah, maybe it's good to also include the contact for American Legion and for Provoking Hope as well, just so that we have, yeah.
I think we have all the key structure that we need. We just need maybe a little bit of review time, adding the additional things that aren't in here.
Yeah.
And then we can kind of frame it up. Because what I see, there are two key points. One is Provoking Hope is going to be able to provide the wraparound services that we need desperately in the community. So that's point number one. And thank you for doing that. And then the other thing is, they were, like you said, so clearly highlighted by the deputy's comments, who sees people in those situations on a daily basis that many of us don't. So his insight was really pretty enlightening. It's like, oh yeah, start up front and you can save those downstream problems. And then we can build all these other little components that are kind of part of the package.
Okay.
I think that would work, at least to me conceptually, that's what I'm thinking of.
Okay.
And you start out that way, and that would be a short one. And then I think maybe the follow-up would be, yeah, we kind of started and do the historical background. Look back after people say, here's where we are, here's where we're going, and here's how it's gonna work, and here's why. And then we say, this is the background that led us here. And not only that, after this break, this is what we're gonna look at. Those are like maybe 3 separate things we can track. Does that sound okay? Okay, stand by one of them, write those down before they're gone.
If we're not careful, we're gonna be done early today, Peter.
That's a shame.
And is everyone okay with me including a little teaser about this, maybe open house / forgot the word.
Town hall.
Yeah, I think.
I
we
need
can-
to just write that down.
Yeah, I have town hall written down, but I'm not sure what we're gonna call that. It might be more of a listening session, or should we even call it
Well,
town?
listening sessions are always good.
Whatever you think, the council, and it's probably important to have reps there from
Oh, yeah.
that group as well.
Invite them.
Yeah, and the title to me is
Poster or whatever.
I think
what the concept is.
the concept just needs to be that, in my mind, that people can ask questions.
Yeah.
That it's not as formal as a
Right, it's giving you a big.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, if I had heard about this and I wasn't a part of it, I would have concerns and I would want to know that I could actually ask questions and it was informal enough to be able to ask questions and it was okay.
Not everybody, is very comfortable with asking questions in a big group, especially about emotional topics. So that's something that we should consider too, is allowing online submittals or submittals on paper, people can drop off and have like a Dropbox outside City Hall, so we don't even know who's putting it in there.
Right, we can advertise it several weeks in advance,
Yeah.
so that people can submit questions if they
Well,
want
that's a
to
good
ask
idea.
them in person.
That's a good idea.
And then we can even come up with like a paper that allows people like Diane to answer, those, and those questions are early in advance as well too. Put those out there like on the city's website or whatever, so.
Okay, good, so I'll do some kind of a teaser and we can review it before we do it. Yeah.
Good work. Okay,
Always like to speak up for the shy people,
yeah, just like all of us.
like you, Bobby.
Okay. All right, thank you. So, update on the public information plan and a course of action that came out of that update. That's even better. Huh? Action plan, I like it. Well, is there anything else?
I just want to add that we also have a newsletter that goes out into our water bills for people that still get a water bill in the paper format. So you can
Oh,
work with me on that.
cool, great.
Yeah.
Dwindling population, but we do.
That was good, huh? I think we're getting a little better. Huh?
Yes,
Well, it's like everything. The more you practice, the better you get. So, I don't think there is anything other than looking back on what we've done in this short hour. And it's only one page compared to 2, but I think it's probably a much more meaningful one page than all our other pages combined that we've come to before today. But you guys can help keep me honest, and I'll just review those for us to make sure we're all on the same one page that we're here on. We talked about the PIT review and the handout that was covered, percentages based on what we have countywide, and then the numbers here in town and some of the continuing issues that we face with that segment of our community. Let's see, talked about availability for the resource center. Short term is here in City Hall Monday to Wednesday. Medium term location will be in the American Legion, but we do need a visit from Provoking Hope, and that's gonna be this Thursday, right, tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we didn't quite follow this in order, so I'm kind of bouncing around, but hang with me. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, tentative dates, as opposed to Monday, Wednesday, Friday here. So the American Legion's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The short term here will be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And that's
Wednesday.
Monday,
Monday,
Tuesday,
Tuesday, Wednesday. Thank you. And that's pending the document preparation for the agreement that we should have by next week, early?
Yes.
Okay. And then after that, we'll figure out what the launch time will be.
Sorry. Before we leave, I do have an announcement. that I almost
Okay.
forgot. So keep-
Okay. Okay, keep me honest, okay, because I'm not kind of on a roll. So, let's see. Diane shared some more information, really good as usual, about the Provoking Hope program and the harm reduction portion of that. So that's kind of an important thing to keep in mind. Program staff from her organization does want to come out and help us. That's always encouraging to hear. One manager, 2 CRM people who will rotate based on what you can come up with for staffing on your end. So that's in your ball court there. So we'll trust you to make the calls and we'll live with the outcomes. Let's see. Agreement we talked about, visit we talked about. And then starting right after the visit. Only 3 more meetings left. That's where we got into that kind of like mid-course correction. Where are we? Because we are going to be able to get the long-term work done. We're going to kind of hang on that for a while, focus on this short and intermediate term siting for the resource center here in town, based on the work we've talked about already. Take a break sometime after that mid-May last meeting that we have. Catch our breath, have fun, take vacations, re-engage with the council, I don't know, late summer, early fall, after they've taken some time to look at where we are, what the community has, what Provoking Hope has been able to provide us, and where they would like for this task force to go in the future if they'd like to do that. And if that is indeed the case, we'd like to make sure that's in writing and clearly stated so everybody knows. And then we look at depending on what that outcome and their tasking or objectives are, if we might want to expand maybe some other segments of the community to add them into the task force. And one of the things that kind of comes to mind is a representative from the educational community here in town.
Yes.
So those kinds of things, but we won't know, you don't know where you're going, so you can't quite get there yet. But once they figure that out, then we can have an opportunity, maybe respond, so we can be a little bit more capable of meeting that broader scope if indeed that is where we are asked to go. So I know there was a lot of words, but that's what I had heard through all that talk. Let's see. Okay, and then the PI plan. We went through, TK put that together, a lot of good information there, and it's you know how difficult it is, right, to track that and these get together, so you did a good job. So, a lot of good ideas, so we're gonna have that available. You'll add to what we had distributed today, based on what we talked about here this afternoon. There will be a Google Doc that people can go in and edit, and then you wanna have that probably back prior to the next meeting, right?
Yeah, well, I think would be great to include that it started, like, so I'm putting the target for myself to get it sent out maybe on Monday or something like that, so then when we can get it back, we can actually have it out and say, this has already started here, and then maybe we could have some information from Diane, maybe by that time, and Bobby on if there's the main focus of the updates that are needed. I mean, that would be great.
Just thought about that. So I think when we have the town hall, not the townhouse, the town hall meeting, that we could have a desired floor plan, and maybe there could be a discussion about, well, that could be open for like contractors essentially to come in and see if there's any changes that need to be made to that. So that could work as an advertisement essentially for what the building needs, how the space needs to be redone.
Yeah,
right?
that would be really cool. Yeah, so it would be great to include in that at least a couple lines about how the tour went and if there's any possible anticipated when that could be moved there, that would be great. That would be a really cool first release of information. That's a lot of really cool stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot in it.
And I will make it shorter.
We'll help you.
Good luck.
Yeah, we'll help you with that. Okay, so I heard it might be out Monday, posted on Google Docs for us to look at, is that correct?
That's what I'll go for, yeah.
And you'll probably want it back prior to Friday. Does that sound right? So we can have it for the
Well, when
next
does the
meeting?
bulletin go out?
You'll need to get it to her like by Friday, well, she allows me Friday morning if it's like.
Friday
Thursday.
for the next Wednesday, yeah,
I've done the weekend before.
okay.
Just tell her to leave you how much space to leave you.
Yeah, I'll talk to her, yeah.
Okay, well, I guess I'm thinking now, hearing you're shooting it next Friday for the next Friday bulletin?
No, you have to get it to her by Friday, so it'd be in for the following
Following.
paper. for the
Yeah,
following week,
and see,
yeah.
and maybe what I had in mind is that if we get that finalized by Friday,
This Friday,
next Friday,
okay.
this Friday's 2 days. Next Friday is longer,
Yeah.
gives us a little time, and it's not coming out till Monday, so we can't. do it by
Looking
this
for Friday the 12th.
Yes,
But what went through my mind is when I heard that Friday is that we probably ought to just, I'm thinking the following meeting is that Wednesday following next Friday. I don't want to steer us in one direction, but I'm going to suggest that maybe if it's done Friday, we take a look at it. And then we put that for next meeting's review to finalize it on a Wednesday. That way there's more lead time for the Friday that comes afterwards for the bulletin. How does that
only
sound?
thing I have attention on is we're just adding extra time,
Great.
and I won't be here on that meeting. I'm trying to get action, but I'll actually be out of the
I'm
country.
going to be going to the next meeting.
Do we need all that time?
Well,
Like, I could put this together probably this weekend. And then I could include the information. The main thing I would be looking for would be, yes, we're open for business here,
mhm.
and then how did the tour go? And that could be included, so that would just be a little bit, and then,
Yeah, I don't like dragging things out. if we can-
No, and I think it might be okay if it's a shorter truncated version
Yeah,
of that.
I can
Just
make
to
it
get it
short.
out in the environment so people kind of know.
Yeah.
And then maybe a follow-up, it's a little bit different than the first set we talked
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
But if we can get something
Yeah.
out by
I'll go
Friday.
for doing that.
Yeah.
I think that would be good, because then it could be not in next week's paper, but the week
Yeah.
after. And then, what we could do, I don't know, that kind of steals the thunder of the paper, I was just saying, is once it's finalized and in some kind of graphic form, which she could do or I could do, then we could just start sharing it online on Friday, once we're all in agreement that it's good to go. But then we steal the thunder of the Wednesday for having it be in the paper, so.
And of course, there's all those people who don't do computer or internet or.
Yeah, I mean, it would be in the
That's a
paper.
That's a large component.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
And even if we
I'll
don't
ask her about
have
it.
actual
Yeah.
start dates for here or the Legion, I think as soon as we can get something in the paper that explains what we're doing and what we hope to do.
Yeah.
And if nothing else, they'll keep reading the paper to find out when it will happen,
Okay,
okay?
yeah,
I think
okay,
so.
I'll go for getting it done as soon as possible.
Okay, that sounds good. But that means we all need to work on it too, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'll try to get it as short as possible. I think I think what it would be great is if I'll send it out and I'll say, everyone if you have any feedback, give it within the next 48 hours. If you haven't done anything, then we're just consider that it's good for you.
Yeah.
And then I'll make sure to get the final approval from you guys before.
No news is good news.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm kind of lost track of when you said you'd have it out.
I'm going to, I will go for having something out this weekend.
Okay,
How about that?
and when do you want feedback by?
48 hours after the weekend.
48 hours after the weekend. Yeah, like Tuesday?
Just tell us when you're ready.
Yeah, like how about
Your
like Tuesday?
inbox.
Yeah, like how about like by Wednesday morning?
Okay,
Yeah. And then I can make any edits or anything like that and then have it to her by Friday.
okay. I think that will work.
I'll make a big note.
Yeah.
That's great.
That will help. So next Friday, bulletin board, right?
Yeah, choose Stacy by Friday.
Okay, I think we have it.
So
Okay. Yes, you have a follow-up.
To your bin list, I would like to add, making sure that we come back and know what Diane and Bobby need for that American Legion building, having a better understanding of that. And I would like to know in general, if we can have so by the end of this, we need to have a bigger, broader conversation about the amenities. Like, what does this long-term goal resource center look like? So making sure that those are on one of these agendas. I'd suggest it to be on an earlier, like maybe even the next one, because I have a feeling that conversation will be longer and may change. So I want to make sure that we have a couple of meetings to talk about that. The other thing is Amber, the city has been working with YCAP on the $225,000 that the city had received a grant, not taken the money in for, but we had received the grant for sheltering to be provided in Sheridan. But the city council decided to have a sub-recipient or a sub-grant with YCAP and to support their, what is it? It's called turnkey. Amber, you're gonna need to jump in here. With the turnkey program that is very closely located to Sheridan, but it is in McMinnville, and to come up with a couple of spaces that are dedicated to people in Sheridan in exchange for that money. And that money will be used for YCAP to get the electricity that's needed for that building. That building has a large amount of electricity need and a large price that comes with that. So the city council is very happy to have YCAP step up and suggest that relationship. And I will leave the rest up to either Amber or even Diane to talk about, but that's the news. So the city council is happy that it would be able to stay in the county, the money stay in the county and support people who are in need of those services. And meeting the public's interest that it have no shelters in Sheridan, but still being able to provide some housing stability and wraparound services. Hope I explained that okay.
I think you nailed it.
Okay.
Turnkey is a former hotel turned homeless shelter, but it's not like a night-by-night shelter. It's a little bit of a longer stay and focuses on real long-term stability with a lot of heavy case management, working with individuals in the shelter on income and health to try to make them as whole as possible so they can be stable. We have about a 75% success rate getting people from that program, that Project Turnkey, into stable housing, which is significantly more than your typical emergency shelter. And with the funds, we'll be able to expand the number of rooms that are available, which would then in turn allow us to reserve a couple of rooms specifically for Sheridan residents who are experiencing homelessness. So I think it's a win-win for all. We're excited.
Okay, thanks, that helps. But I missed the first two. I caught the last one about the YCAP having some of the grant funding to provide the.
That was just an announcement. It isn't really.
But you started this whole thing with two other.
Amenities. I'd like us to talk about the amenities for
Next
the
meeting?
long term, or the one after that. And then just a report, of course, from Bobby and Diane, which I think will lead into the amenities conversation, right? And then I would like to, I think I'm gonna reach out to the school district now-ish. I sent an email just to Diane to introduce her to some of the school leadership just now. And so I wanna ask the school district if maybe they would be interested in coming in and having a conversation, hearing this conversation. Because I think in the fall, it'll be nice to have them as part of this conversations. Using the same words.
So that'll be a next meeting topic, right?
Yeah, well, maybe a report from them or things that they see or something. So I'll ask them to be a guest speaker or be a part of this.
Yeah, so basically, we'll get a report back is one, and the second one I heard is that will help drive maybe the amenities we need for that in a longer term facility. Does that sound fair?
Mhm.
Okay, let me get one and two items, so that we'll carry those into the next meeting. Okay. Okay, good. Let's see, next meeting bin list, I think we have done that unless there's anything else from anyone who'd like to cover something we may have missed. Okay. Busy day. with that, I think, we're on the closing comments and adjournment, so we're kind of on a roll there, so anything else you want to add to closing?
I just have a lot of respect for the work that everybody does in this room, to give their heart and to give their mind. It's very difficult subject matter, and I just have so much appreciation for, you know, for what you do, and that you all have stepped up and, you know, been an outspoken person for the leadership and the good of people that live in Sheridan. So, thank you so much. I don't know if anybody else has anything else to share. I just always am in so much awe of people that volunteer too. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Any online folks want to share anything? No? Anybody else?
If I didn't volunteer, I'd have to vacuum.
Litter boxes, I'd rather.
That's how you get out of vacuum.
That's it.
Thank
It
you.
works.
I needed to know that.
It's like the best bumper sticker.
Okay, on that positive note then, I think we're done, so we can adjourn next meeting, is the 17th here at 4 o'clock. Thank you, everybody. Have a good couple of weeks. Don't forget the homework either. Okay, good.
And I did sweep before I left today.
That's tomorrow, Friday. Yeah. Well, that's a good get together.
That way you said that you weren't, you felt compelled to be on council. Is that because you don't want to vacuum the?
Yeah, I said for today.